NFL Week 7, we're going over props and parlays. Welcome, everybody, to Winning in the Shadows. Andy, Jim, and Corbin, we're going to break down all of the plays. We got some great things to recap from last week. While we're doing this, go ahead and hit the like button and leave a comment. Tell me your best bet. And then, Corbin, we get to stop me for the code word of the week to put would,
Keep
break,
going, keep going, keep going,
make, master.
and
Oh,
stop.
master?
Yeah, we'll go
Oh,
with
that's going to
master.
be a good one.
That's a great one. All right. Master is your code word. If you don't have a hot take and you want to help the algorithm out, just type the word master in the comments section. Shout Always appreciate you guys. A couple great things to recap from last week. So Corbin and Jim had a head-to-head bet. Corbin lost it, so Corbin has to do Jim's sack prop
Just
segment.
passed
So
off
Jim's
my
got
workload for the week. It's all Corbin.
Yeah, Jim can
um
just rock up. I've spent the last 7 hours just trying to prepare for this.
yeah. Um we got a couple of bet tickets that actually bet our Kirk Cousins parlay. This single best same game parlay we've ever come up with.
Oh, easily.
Over 1.5 rush attempts and under half a yard. So we hit that one. Thank you for setting that bet slip in. One of my favorite bets that we've done for this year. I don't know if we will have another one this week, but that was great. And to send in the bet slip was fantastic. And then we had somebody upset with us because there were two plays that didn't go over well. Even though we go over every category in every game, we are talking about 100 props. Someone on social media was like, "Well, these two plays didn't go well," and one of them was Romeo Dobbs, your boy Corbin.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah, as I was saying to you, he still didn't have a good game. He literally had what was it, 30 or 40 yards, and he caught 2 touchdowns, but they were simple. I mean, he didn't have to do an awful lot. And suddenly I'm getting hate, and it's like it's like he still did awful.
Yeah, a couple great comments from the comment section. One, someone said that someone on the video is cute. Didn't specify which one of us.
It's definitely Andy. It's definitely Andy.
I'll take it. And
I
then
don't think
someone
I
said,
come off as cute. It's got to be Andy.
and then someone said something about Corbin's accent, completely forgetting that according to Corbin, we're the ones that have the accent.
Exactly.
This is true.
All right, let's get into it, guys. Passing props. I'm gonna go first, because this is crazy to me that you can get Drake May at plus 250 to throw two touchdown passes against the worst secondary in the league right now. The Jaguars have allowed 13 touchdown passes in the last 4 weeks. All those quarterbacks have gone over. I was worried last week about Caleb Williams, so I didn't play him. And I was like, well, rookie quarterback going overseas. No, torched him. Plus 250 on any quarterback to throw two touchdown passes against the Jaguars is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. And his over-under is half a touchdown at minus 245. That's a parlay piece, in my opinion. So that's what I got for passing props. Corbin, you like anything in this?
I don't. I'm gonna pass in this game, quite honestly.
Okay. Weather report looks like it's getting a lot better for this game, by the way. Winds and rain looked like it was in the forecast, but it looks like it's going to be before the game. So not too much worry for the weather in this one. Jim, do you like any passing props?
I'm with you on the Drake May, man. That's first of all, that number's ridiculous for 2 touchdowns. I don't care how bad the quarterback is. I think is that worse than Spencer Rattler's number was Thursday? I think it is. It's a better
I think
number.
so.
So that's just madness to say that Spencer Rattler had a better shot than Drake May. They're going to let the kid throw, man. They got to see what he's made of. And he showed us last week he's not afraid to let it fly.
Moving on to the.
I could be tempted by Trevor Lawrence to throw an interception. He still just doesn't look right. Other than that one week, I liked him to go over. Something just doesn't seem right with the Jags. Quite honestly, all over the ball. So yeah, if I had to lean, that minus 135 sounds somewhat interesting.
Let's take a look at the Lions and the Vikings, one of the marquee games of the week. Corbin, you like any of these quarterbacks?
See, this game to me is initially there's quite a lot that I liked, but all the numbers in this game to me are exactly in the right place. I can't find any value on the Lions Vikings at all. I think Darnold's going to have a good game, but recently in the last couple games I've watched, he's had a really good first quarter or first half, and the second half he's kind of fallen away. The numbers are all kind of in the right place for me in that game completely. So
I agree. I can't find any value on passing props, Jim.
I'd be interested in the touchdowns. If we go to touchdown props, look, Aaron Rodgers threw for 2 against the Vikings. It just they light up the scoreboard, the Lions. Yeah, you would think of them as a running team, but it's like run, 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 and then huge passing play. You know, and it's always Montgomery and Gibbs, just like we said last week, and they did go off. But God, to me, is this a track meet? This has the recipe for a track meet, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
No Aiden Hutchinson now pressuring Sam. Like,
I feel like we say that most week with the Lions, is it has that kind of potential.
Of course,
yeah, they've had theirs. We had a Sam Laporta showing.
Plus 100 for Jarrett and minus 125 for Sam. I don't see the Vikings running it down the Lions' throats. They have a fantastic D line even without Hutchinson. Great run defense. Yeah, give me both guys to throw over 1.5. I'm not looking to add 100 bets, but I think they're both playable numbers.
Let's take a look at the Titans and the Bills. Josh Allen at 214, Will Levis at 178. It's kind of correlated here. Corbin, this might be a same game parlay looking at the Bills allowing 5.3 yards per carry. They still can't stop the run. If you're Tennessee, that's your path to victory. No Tyjae Spears, which means I like Will Levis to go under and I like Tony Pollard to go over when we get to the rushing props.
Exactly.
Like maybe taking an alt on Levis, to go under and an alt on Pollard to go over. Maybe that's the same game parlay. No opinion on Allen, but what do you think?
Exactly as you said. I was looking at. I didn't quite make an alt parlay in the end. There wasn't enough that I liked, but I love those plays where. So you like Levis at 178, but it's somewhat of a low total still. If you could bump that up to the 200, 210 range and get an alt under on that sounds pretty promising to me. So
yeah, take an under 230.5 or a 205 and find a good
even
parlay
that.
piece to it.
I quite like that. So
Jim, what are your thoughts on this game? Anything?
I think as long as Will Levis is starting, you just keep playing him to throw an interception. He's kind of that quarterback this year, right?
Like, he is.
He's that guy. It's gonna have way more interceptions than touchdowns. That's the only way I would look. With Josh, it's gonna be contingent on James Cook, in my opinion. I think we saw that very evidently against the Jets that the passing props without James Cook, they are not going to go to the running backs as much as they do with James Cook.
Let's take a look at the Bengals and the Browns. Corbin, do you have the onions to take an over on Deshaun Watson against the Bengals, who have looked really, really awful at times in the secondary, or still a pass?
If Amari Cooper was still there, I could probably talk myself into just about playing it. With Cooper not there, I just stay away from me. We mentioned it before. Nick Chubb back this week. Much prefer his prop. Think they're going to ride him a little bit. I just don't want anything to do with him, quite honestly, Deshaun Watson. So,
yeah, me neither. Jim?
No. Definitely not. There's a way I want to play this game we'll get to in another prop.
Dolphins at Colts. I mean, here you go. Here's your classic 2 quarterbacks under 200 yards. I can't bring myself to bet on either one of these guys. I feel like there's much better opportunities to bet on this week's card. I would take an under on Richardson, but that's about it. Jim, you like either of these quarterbacks, or
this is
stay away?
One ugly game. It's just with Richardson coming back on the lineup, we don't know what we're going to see. I mean, we know what we're going to see, but we don't know what we're going to see.
Right?
It's not going to be Flacco. We know that much. So, yeah, these numbers, you have no idea. And the other thing with Richardson, I don't even want to bring this up to put Andy in a bad mood or anything, but you never know when this guy's going to get dinged up again. You just don't.
Exactly.
It would help us with betting prop. It's so much.
I would love Flacco to come back in.
I think the Colts are better without him. With Flacco and Richardson, the betting props are better without him. So I loved him when we drafted him, and now I've completely soured on him. Just because you're watching Flacco just completely outplay him.
Yeah.
right now. So no, you're not hurting my feelings.
Interesting. I quite like Tyler Huntley over his total this week. I
Oh,
think they're going. I think they're going to have to throw the ball. The Dolphins running backs are just not getting it done and can't stay healthy at the minute. He has so many weapons with Hill and Waddle. We'll get to that because I like them as well. And the Colts are just so bad versus the pass. He got 194 last week versus the Patriots in a win. I think this sets up quite nicely for Huntley to at least go over this total. Not necessarily have a good game, but at least go over. What is it, 183 or something? In
183
that.
and a half. Not a big
Exactly.
number at all.
it's a
So,
good point. It's Tyreek Hill on turf too,
yeah,
in a dome.
against our secondary.
Exactly.
Not a
Exactly.
bad angle there, Corbin. Yeah.
Texans at the Packers. Corbin, thoughts on your Packers quarterbacks here?
Both kind of in the right place again. I have a few plays on the rushing props, but it's kind of hard. I don't want to take the Stroud number at that high with Nico Collins being out,
Sure.
and then Love. We'll get to that. I expect us to run the ball more this week to try and control time of possession and all of that stuff. So we'll get to that later.
Jordan Love has hit this in every game that he started this year. This 1.5 touchdowns. I know it's minus 185, but streaks are streaks when you're hitting this prop time in and game in and game out. Warrants looking
You could
at.
easily put that with a team total or alt spread or
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
other alts that we mentioned just to bring it down a smidge. Just because it's 185 on the board doesn't mean you have to directly play it as that as well. So
Eagles and Giants. Here's another one where at this money, Jim, I just take both of them to throw over 1.5 touchdown passes, and I think one of them does it. Maybe we get lucky. I think the last time we talked about this, both of them hit. You were sitting there with great plus money.
yeah.
One of them certainly going over. These secondaries are not very good, and at these prices, I can't really ignore it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this Eagles team, this is a division game. Eagles are just getting by. Giants have a little bit of momentum behind them, not even based off results, but just the fact that Daniel Jones has been running a competent offense. So people are starting to spin and get a little high on them. I worry with the Giants if this comes crashing back down to earth. Now we're facing a divisional opponent who knows the offense, knows how to counteract it. I'm not a fan of this Philly defense. I most certainly could see both of them going over their touchdown total. I don't see a threatening running game. The only thing I would say what hurts is it's just this could end up being the Barkley show. And I think that's what everybody wants it to be. So I would lean more towards on Jones's overs than I would Hurts's overs, just because we could see them give Barkley 26, 27 touches in this game. Then he just murders the Giants.
The Jones
Corbin's-
play is actually one of my favorite on the board. I've got a same game parlay piece coming up on that. What is I can't quite read it. Is it 207?
207.5
That's
for
really,
Jones and
it's really
216.
interesting. I don't know, you guys won't have noticed, but so I did my notes for this last night, and it was actually at 217, and I still liked the over at that point. Obviously, that's a 10-yard jump in the wrong direction, but I like it even more. The Eagles 24th versus the pass, average of 237. He's gone over this in 3 of his last 4, and Neighbors is back. I'm expecting them to be behind. I'm expecting him to be throwing the ball. Such a low total that I quite like that over on Jones. So
Seahawks and the Falcons. Kirk Cousins didn't have a huge day throwing the ball, only 19 completions for 225 yards. But that was because they were able to run the ball a ton against Carolina. Jim, I think the Seahawks defense is ripe to be picked on. We've seen that. They're just so banged up. Like the defense that you're seeing from Seattle is not their normal defense. So we got to take advantage. I would take Kirk Cousins over 265.5. What do you think?
I'm actually interested in the run game in this more than the passing game. I think that defense is so beat up that the Falcons could go back to playing bully ball and just really tire out that they have no depth. They have no depth. Their backup players are backups. So I mean, there's really not a lot of depth on this D line. The linebackers are not good. I could see the Falcons putting the running game shoes on and just going. So 266, I can't get there. Could he go over? Of course, it's Kirk Cousins. I like Geno to turn it over.
It's been a good one.
Yeah,
In shootouts, he's good for a wayward, pass. It's only minus 125. So
the thing is, if they're down, he's going to throw it up to Metcalf. and it's either going to be a big play or it's going to get picked off.
You've brought up taking this bet live.
Yes.
If the situation, talk us real quick. Talk us through the live bet on players to throw an interception.
So if let's take this game for instance, Seahawks get the ball first. Numbers -125. As time clicks away in the game, the numbers get juicier and juicier and juicier. You might be sitting around +125 in the second quarter. In the third quarter, if it hasn't happened yet, you could be at +200 to get it. So, I mean, looking back at a lot of these interceptions, if they don't throw one early, you have a chance to get on it. And if your team is down, you could get the Hail Mary interception. You could get the end of the game, just throw it up there interception. The end of the half Hail Mary interception. So it's not hard to get a better number. The problem is if it happens early, you're done.
Yeah.
So it's like you lay off or you wait, but you will get a better number as time ticks away in the game. With the interceptions, it's all relative to time left.
Panthers and Commanders, low totals here. These are two awful secondaries, Corbin. They're both at 237.5. I mean, come on. How do you end up with Dalton and Daniels at exactly the same amount?
I guess I guess the way that I'm looking at it is I think the Commanders are going to be straight ahead, and Daniels isn't going to be needing to throw the ball at all, and obviously that means Dalton's going to be having to throw it constantly. That's how you end up at that kind of level playing field because of the game script. I can't get there with either of them just because Daniels of the huge blowout potential, and just I'm still not convinced by Dalton in the slightest, especially at this total. So.
Raiders
What's Andy's completions again this week?
I feel like that's a Jim special every week.
Yeah,
finding out the Dalton.
He went under last week, so
the Dalton complete 22.5.
Yeah, they're keeping it right at that number. I mean, if they're down in here with that Washington secondary, I like that one.
All right,
that could be a good one to take live, as you said, Jim, because I expect them to start out the game running the ball.
Yes.
So obviously he's probably not on track to reach his completions that early because they're running the ball so much. As time goes on, I imagine that the number's going to start creeping down, and then if the game script is going in your favor, you might be able to hop on a live lower number when he's going to just be throwing it probably the second half. So.
Aiden O'Connell versus Matthew Stafford. I mean, if there's a game I want nothing to do with anywhere, this is it.
Yeah.
No, all right.
Passing wise, no.
I can go on the next game if. Yep. So I quite like Purdy over 31.5 pass attempts. So he's only gone over in 2 spots this year, but I think both these teams could have issues running the ball, quite honestly. They both have quite good rush defenses. There is that shootout potential. I don't quite know how this game's going to go. That's probably the game script is keeping me off actually betting it. But I know that at worst, Mahomes is going to keep this close. I think it's going to be a tight game. And 31.5 is really not a lot of pass attempts in the game that could have shootout potential. So I quite like that.
I like it. Jimmy, like any passing props?
Purdy's passing touchdowns over 1.5.
Right.
That's an old faithful.
That's another old faithful, yep.
We might as well just get a banner and just hold that up every time we get to the 49ers section.
We should have a scroll on the bottom with just our repeat. But that's the thing with props, man. When you find one and you can get on a roll, you want to get on that roll.
Yeah. No real opinions. I got it. I would just tell you the Chiefs just take the under in the second half. They're back to playing great defense in the second half, and their offense is clunky. Mahomes, have you seen that people are dropping Patrick Mahomes in fantasy leagues? That's how awful he's been. Yeah, like he's been terrible. They're not putting up points. So I hit a nice alt total in the second half last week. I'm just going to be doing that every week. When halftime rolls around the Chiefs game, I'm just looking at the unders. So Jets and the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, Jim.
Oh, I'm going to get ridiculed for this one. Not by you, by the public. Aaron Rodgers, over 1.5 touchdown passes.
Ooh, whoa, okay.
I believe.
Oh, I like this.
The line?
Plus 105.
Yep. Plus money on that. When they get down to the red, Corbin, I think, brought this up last week. Whatever the Jets are doing, when they get in the red zone, they abandon it.
Yes.
They go the opposite way
themselves.
every time. Yeah. So they ran the ball great last game. They got in the red zone and they threw it. every time,
Yeah.
which is part of our problem. Look, with Devontae coming in, I'm not saying that he's going to get 120 something yards receiving, but I see this being, and the Steelers defense, I don't think is very susceptible to the run. I don't see Brees Hall having a fantastic day. I think the Jets could be down. This is a tough defense. You have two outside weapons that are true number ones. I think Rodgers lets it fly. Like, again, it's now or never for this team. If they're going to light it
Yes.
up, they're going to do it now. So give me Rodgers at plus money to throw 2 touchdowns, and I don't have to worry about my Jets blowing the game.
It's a great point.
I find it very interesting in this game that the Russell Wilson prop is currently off the board. I wrote these notes last night. He was at 177.5, and even then I liked the under on that. He's old, he hasn't played all year against the second best pass defense. Like, I'm expecting the Steelers to run the ball. I don't see how Russell Wilson has any kind of good day in the slightest. I think he's just going to hand the ball off and struggle, quite honestly. So Aaron Rodgers' pass attempts is another one that I've been riding the last few weeks. Again, we mentioned last week that Hall did a way better job, but they've had such issues running the ball. So Rodgers has just been taking it into his own hands and just slinging it constantly. So
All right. We got 2 Monday night games, so we'll go over those on Monday. Just want to remind you guys here. Actually,
remind them that I've got a same game parlay coming up. Is that what
well,
you were gonna
let's
say?
tell people what we have up. NFL pack is up. We were 4-1 the last 2 weeks, so looking forward to continuing that. We lowered the volume, just done a couple of plays, and doing really good. Always want to remind people we always are fully transparent. We always post our record, and every Monday we do a recap video. So encourage everyone to join us for that. So far this week, 458, 297, 147.85 units, 8.5% ROI. That was our bankroll reset on Monday. We got a big Saturday and Sunday, so looking forward to more of those. So if you have not liked and subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that now. Really appreciate that. And if you have not joined the Discord, go ahead and do that as well. A lot of free plays, a lot of great discussion, like-minded people. If you take your bankroll serious, if you treat it like a business, that is a great place to go. So we've got a lot of compliments. There's not a lot of nonsense. Actually, there's no nonsense in the Discord channel. So it's one of the things the three of us are most proud of. So go ahead and join that.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, it's been a really nice experience. So, but NFL pack is up, and you're going to get all of our plays for week 7. Let's jump to rushing props here, and we will start with the London game. Jim, do you like any of these guys?
I can see
Dislike any
Trevor.
of these guys?
I dislike all of them. But Trevor Lawrence at 13.5 seems a little bit low against this Patriots defense. I can see him getting a scramble or two. It's going to be nothing I'm going to put my money on as far as that, though. Stevenson returning. Jags are vulnerable through the air, not on the ground. So no interest for me.
Corbin?
Not in this game. No.
All right. Let's move on.
What's the rush receiving for Ramondre? We'll have to talk about rush receiving now.
60.5.
That I can get behind.
Okay.
If we get a couple check down passes, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with Drake May, but we had saw how much of a part of the passing game he was. I could get behind the 60.5. No official play though.
All right. Did Lions and the Vikings, Corbin, you like these guys? The Lions, this is what you guys went head to head with. They
Double
both,
or nothing, Corbin?
they both
Double or
were
nothing?
Well, that's the thing. They were both good, and that's
Yeah.
just what this
Oh,
Lions
sure. Let's go
team
for it.
is.
No.
So-
I think you play them both again. Like, if they're going to keep putting these guys at 50, I think the worse you go is 1-1.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a winning proposition, but I did a sneaky play on this last week as I took both of them for 40. So we're talking about a same game parlay or anything. You take both for 40. You can take both for 50 here. I just think 50 yards is so low for these two running backs. They both can go over every week easily.
I think that was my same game parlay I gave on the show last week, wasn't it? Was
Yep.
it Gibbs 40, Montgomery 25, and like Lions plus 7.5 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, I took them both at 40 as well.
Yeah.
So
And that-
both,
yeah.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, no opinion on this one, but you guys are right. And maybe this is a good same game parlay as well, Corbin. I wouldn't be mad going right back to something like
Yeah.
that. Vikings, very good defense, though. That's the only thing. But the Lions, they just seem to turn it into a shootout. Titans and Buffalo Bills. I'll go first. Love the Sony Pollard 66.5. No Tajay Spears. Bills team that they don't give up a ton of carries, but their yards per carry is just it's 5.3. The only team worse than that is the Saints, and that's after the dismantle that them getting absolutely crushed. This is Pollard 17 for 93 against the Colts, 22 for 88 against Miami the last couple weeks. You're in a bad spot if you're depending on Will Levis to win you games. So why not give it to the running back? This is really, really strong play, in my opinion. I think he goes over his carries, and I think he goes over his yards. Corbin, any thoughts?
I'm on James Cook this week. I don't know. Jim will probably say rushing and receiving. I'm going to stick with just the rushing for the minute. So he's over in 3 of the 5 weeks, and the only 2 weeks he didn't was the huge L to the Ravens. Obviously, good rush defense, not going to run the ball in that game script. And then the game against the Jags where they had a big win. I think this Titans team is way easier to run on than to throw on, and I think Cook will. I think the Bills always feel like they're best when they get Cook involved. It shows when he's not there, but again, unlike. I kind of like the rushing and receiving more, just because we've seen it so many times, Andy. You know, we talked about it last year. Whenever we expect them to run the ball, they just start throwing the ball, and every time we expect them to throw the ball, they start running the ball. So
they've been better this year. They've been better. I didn't say they were great, but they've been better because it's
been a little more predictable, and they're certainly commit to the run more.
Jim, do you like the over rushing and receiving?
Yeah, if it's below 80 or around 80, I'm in on James Cook pretty much every week.
84.5. They're teasing you.
They're creeping it up a little bit higher. It was 83 a couple weeks ago. I got it at 79 at one point, 79.5. So it's borderline. It's a good number for it, but as far as minus 110, but you're, okay. I don't know. I think you could lose that one.
All right. Let's move on to the Bengals and the Browns. Corbin, talk about Nick Chubb, 39.5 yards. You like him? Think he gets a decent workload?
I have 2 plays that I like in this segment, actually. Chubb, I'm going to play it, quite honestly. What is it? 39.5, such a low total. None of the other running backs in that team are getting it done. I love these players coming back off a comeback spot. He's going to be so motivated. He's going to be so eager for this game. All it takes, we forget Chubb could easily break a long one constantly. He does it most games, or he did last year, not last year, the year before. I think he's going to have no issues coming back from this injury. I think he's very ready for it. And at this total, I think it's a good matchup as well. I think it all leads to Chubb having a good game. The other one I'm looking at is Chase Brown over 50.5. He had 53 versus the Giants last week, 46 against the Ravens. I already mentioned they have a great rush defense. And he got 80 versus the Panthers, 62 versus the Commanders. So he's easily going over this total. Browns ranked 24th against the rush, giving up an average of 141, and they're 7th against the pass, which again leads, I always talk about it, but game scripts and the easiest path to victory just seems to run the ball. So Moss is on the downward spiral. So I think it's all Chase Brown and Nick Chubb this week for me in this game.
Jim?
I got to agree with Corbin. I think Chubb does go over this. Normally I wouldn't be jumping for joy to bet on a returning. Look, you know what the Browns want to do? They want to take the ball out of Deshaun Watson's hand.
Get rid of Deshaun.
Yes.
Forget that ever happened.
The owner has already said that we can't get rid of him, so you're playing him. I still stand by that the only reason he's on the field is his contract, and Jameis Winston should be the starting quarterback at this point. They want to take it out of his hands. If Chubb gets 10 carries, he doesn't need to do much with the 10 carries to get to this 39.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jerome Ford pulled hamstring. The Bengals have given up the 5th most rushing yards in the league. And
I don't think they're rushing Chubb back by any means. This isn't a rushed deal. They have been very patient and just kind of see how he is every week.
I think they've picked this team and week out. I think this is
it's a home game, division game.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Yes.
It's a perfect spot for him to come flying back, quite honestly.
Dolphins and the Colts. I'm taking Trey Sermon under. Here's my analysis. He stinks. 1.6 yards per carry last week, and the eye test it was worse because he
Oh
had an
wow.
11. He had one 11-yard play. Other than that, he had 17 carries for 18 yards against
Wow.
Tennessee.
Those are pretty
Before
solid
that,
numbers.
against Jacksonville, a horrible defense, he had 10 carries for 38 yards. He's not the guy. Goodson should get more work in this one. So, A-Chain should have a field day. I don't know what his health is like, but I probably would just stick with Sermon under. I don't think he's even going to get that many. I mean, how much more do you need to see from him to know he's not your guy to be running it into the back of the offensive lineman's backsides and falling down? So, yeah, Trey Sermon.
And that is Andy's application to become coach of the Colts.
That's not coach. I'd be running back. I could do that. I can average 1.6 yards per carry on 18 attempts. Anyway, Corbin, you like any of these guys?
No, I don't like rushing
Jim?
props here.
No, I'm out of this game rushing wise.
Texans
No,
and Packers.
that's-
Corbin, you mentioned rushing props. What do you like?
Oh, I have 3 that I can get behind in this
okay,
game.
3.
I'm gonna start with my least confident and work my way up. So Mixon over 64.5, I think I have it.
Drop
So
down to 62.5.
Oh.
So you're getting a little discount here.
love it. So the 2 games he start and finished, he has 159, 102. I will say, so obviously I got the Packers rush defense wrong last week, but there's context to it in my eyes. The Marvin Harrison injury completely ruined their pass attack. It was literally all we had to do was just plonk everyone in the box and just wait for Connor and I've forgotten his name now. Connor and Murray to run. It was easy. It was easy to stop them. I think we're going to go right back to having issues, especially all it takes is Stroud to open up the field a couple of times and we're going to be back to running around like headless chickens, quite honestly. Nico Collins is hurt. That does hurt the passing game. Could lead to Mixon getting a few more carries than if he was playing. My only concern is I could see a shootout in this game between these teams. So that would hurt Mixon. My second favorite is CJ Stroud over 9.5. I really like these games where Stroud is in a competitive game or a shootout. He's gone over in 4 of 6. And the one time he didn't was one of the games he didn't was a huge blowout win where he didn't need to run. He got, I think it was 7 last week against the Patriots, if I remember. 9.5 is so low. He can get this on a couple of carries quite easily against our defense. And then I think my favorite is Josh Jacobs over 15.5 rush attempts. So he's had 18 and 19 the last 2 weeks. Texans have a good pass defense. I think LaFleur is going to control the clock, try and run, keep his offense on the field. We're at home. I just think everything leads to Jacobs just getting a lot of carries to try and give our defense a break. If it turns into a shootout, I think we're going to need to do something to control the game. So I think Jacobs will be it. So they're my 3 favorite. I don't know if any of you share my enjoyment.
I trust you with the honestly.
Yeah.
I trust you with the Packers like games. Like I've said this so many times. Like when you have somebody that follows a certain team, they just know more than everybody else. I don't need to have my own thoughts. I mean, I think there are points galore in this one. So I think this sets up for a really nice fantasy game. So
Yeah.
Eagles and the Giants. Corbin, I know you got your same game parlay coming up in that one. Jim, you like any of these guys?
Well, it's really going to depend on game script, these numbers. And I think they're telling you that it's going to be the Saquon show. Now, this Giants defense, I think, has played better than what was expected. It hasn't been fantastic by any means, but I think they've really shown an ability to be a competent defense. So they're going to be amped up to stop Saquon. Look, we do this every week with every game. What is going to be the most popular pick as far as bets this game?
Oh, it's going to be that one.
Saquon to score a touchdown, Saquon first touchdown score, and it's going to be Saquon over rushing. Those are your top 3. Everybody's going to bet it. So if everyone's going to bet it, either the books are going to get ransacked or the public is going to be sitting here dumbfounded when Jalen Hurts runs it in from the 1. So
which I may be betting.
I may be betting as well.
I may be betting that one.
He's not going to get every touchdown to Saquon.
No.
So I this Daniel Jones total at 28.5. Look, this Eagles defense is not good. Don't let it fool you. When they go up against anybody who's hot on their certain day, the secondary is horrible. The linebackers are absolutely lost. We had a play on Nakobe Dean last week, and I watched that entire game and watched him run left, right, forward, back, and never into a ball carrier. He's just lost. So when your middle linebacker can't track down your running back, it's pretty pathetic. They have no pass rush. I could see Jones putting up some good numbers here on the ground. I could see him putting good numbers up through the air. We already said we like the 2 touchdown passes. Yeah, give me Daniel Jones over 28.5. I'll stay away from that Saquon number.
Seahawks and the Falcons. I don't know what just happened. I'm going to have to look this up, but right before we started recording, Tyler Allgeier's numbers was 38.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I was interested.
Yep.
And now it's 43.5. A 5-yard bump on a prop that's 38.5 is a gigantic red flag. Maybe they're expecting him to do what he did last week, which is, where they absolutely torched the Panthers 18 for 105. But I mean, before that, though, 6 for 12, 8 for 60 against New Orleans, another horrible, team, 7 for 32, 9 for 53, 3 for 21. The move has absolutely terrified me, but it's the Seahawks defense that's so beat up. Not every Falcon is going to go over here, Jim. So what are we doing here? I like Kirk Cousins. You like the running. This one's got me a little confused.
Quickly, before we move on, I have an interesting question, Andy. So when you see a prop jump that total, do you like, if you still liked it, would you go and bet it now at 43.5, or would you wait another hour to see if it slowly creeps back down? Like, how would you approach it?
Well, I wait because 5 yards on a 38, that's over 10% increase.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
a lot.
That's 2 carries probably. Like based on his average, he would need. I mean, that's just they just added 2 carries to his workload, and for a guy that let's face it, is the second back on that team, that's a lot. So that I'm out. No, I'm not betting 43.5 unless there's some quote from the coach that was like, "Hey, we're celebrating Tyler Algier Day. It's his birthday."
I wonder if it's
Bijan
something on.
Stick. I
wonder if it's something on the Seattle defense side.
Well, yeah,
A guy ruled out. They're so banged up. If they lose one more guy, I could see a move like that.
Yeah, I'll be patient and wait on the news. But once you miss a line move like that, unless something crazy has happened, you're out. You're done.
Yeah, you don't want to go chasing lines. Is kind of what I was saying. If you liked it at 38.5 and it moves, I'm more in the camp of you just lay off and you just you don't go chasing it, betting it, even if it's moved.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that was my pick anyway. So let's move on.
Yeah,
that's where I was
wild.
going with it.
I mean, that was literally in the last 45 minutes. So we're recording this on Saturday afternoon. So if you're watching this on Sunday, that's what's going on there. Panthers and Commanders. Hubbard, keep banging the drum on Hubbard. He doesn't have any competition yet. But Jonathan Brooks is still out. Miles Sanders was his competition last week. Miles Sanders had 3 carries for a very confident 1 yard. 1 yard. He's worse than Trey Sermon. And this is a Commanders defense that is not very good against the rush. They're not great against the pass, but they're really not good against the rush. He's been good. What is he's the 3rd leading running back this year. I wouldn't look.
Surprise me.
I went and looked at this. So, of the top 3 scoring fantasy running backs this year, only one of them was drafted in the top 43. That's Derrick Henry.
Wowza.
Jordan Mason and Chubb Hubbard. There's your other 2 that round out the top 3. So I just keep going back to Hubbard. Like, he's not barely going over this total. He's going over by like 25 and 30 yards. So that's why I will keep playing him. Corbin, do you like any of these rushing? I was just going to say, I forgot to mention this. We were talking about the passing yards for Daniels. They are over the moon that Brian Robinson is back. I don't know if you've read the quotes, but Jane Daniels is like, we're so glad to get Robinson back. That's a guy who I would target for a touchdown.
Yes, he gets all the carries at the goal line.
I wanted to say that
Mhm.
because his prop isn't out yet, but he should be good to
Well,
go, and I would expect the big game.
this might go hand in hand with what I'm about to say. I love Daniels to go under his total this week.
Love
Rush,
it.
right?
Why
Yeah.
why do we need Daniels to run the ball
No,
against the
you
Panthers
don't.
when they're going to be up? I don't know how many points I expect. He's gone 4 of 6. He's gone under this total. And if you remember, he went over the first game and they reeled him back in and they said you can't be running that much. So really, he's like 4 of the last 5. He's gone under this total.
Mhm.
It's just there's no need for him to get to this total. It's not going to be competitive in the slightest, I don't think. And I think if there's any week to have an off week and just protect yourself, it's this one to me. And this total is huge for a quarterback still. Like this is like Lamar Jackson kind of territory. And I don't see the need for him to get anywhere near it. So
Yeah. Let's move to the Raiders and the Rams here, Jim. Alexander Madison and Kyron Williams, like any of these guys?
Talk about two opposite ends of the scale there, huh?
Right? Yeah.
This might. I'm never confident in taking an over on 90.5, but if there is somebody that can get it, it's Kyron Williams. The workload that this guy sees week to week, the Rams are not back yet. They're not. I'm really curious, and this isn't a knock on Max Crosby, but Max Crosby's pissed off. As in, he don't want to freaking be there anymore. He flat out said this week,
does anyone?
I'm not here to rebuild.
Tom Brady does.
Came here to win. I wonder how motivated look, I don't fault anybody for making a business decision in that situation. So if your leader is just going to be kind of floating out there, not willing to stick his head in, the Raiders also lost Christian Wilkins, their best D tackle. I could see Williams having a day against the Raiders here, a big, big day. The 90 on the rushing is high, but I think he can get it. And again, Kyron Williams to score a touchdown.
Yeah. Absolutely. Against this team. Yeah, Tom Brady is the only player that's interested in being a part of the Raiders. So
So he can hire Bill.
I seriously, how are you going to sign a 10-year contract to be an announcer and then become an owner? Did you see that because now he's an owner, he's not allowed to interview players?
Yeah.
Like, he's not,
Because he does whatever he wants and everyone says, okay.
That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. 10-year announcer contract. Oh, I'm going to be a part owner of a team.
I will say I could quite happily throw a Kyron Williams alt total into any play.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will say I'm also gonna wait. It hasn't come out yet, but most rushing yards in the game for Williams.
It's going to be minus 1,000, Corbin.
You're going to be shocked. It normally isn't. So I took Barkley last week, if you remember, and his total was in the like 86s, so not that far away from Williams. His next competition was in the 30s or 40s, and he was only minus 300. And he had an awful game, and I think he only got to like 40 yards, and he still cashed the most rushing yards in that game. I was delighted. So
True.
I was terrified for you. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get it.
of course he was.
That's twice you've done that. You hit Aaron Jones in a game. He pulled his hamstring. Or
Exactly.
Was out.
I love those most rushing yards in a
That's
in a
right.
game. So.
All right, let's talk the Chiefs and the 49ers here, rushing props. I have nothing except for Kareem Hunt over his attempts. I don't think this 49ers rush defense is nearly as good as they've been in years past. The numbers would bear that out. And he's at 13.5. And Kareem Hunt is the guy. He's looked the best. Covers little bear there in the backfield and with other weapons. So I think they ride Kareem Hunt. And second half, if the Chiefs are ahead, they're going to be running the ball. I think it's going to be really close. I don't see the Chiefs getting blown out. So Kareem Hunt over 13.5. But that's about it for me. Jim, you like any rushing props?
I was interested in Purdy over his total. I think it was what, 12,
15.5 now.
Right? So it was 14.5 earlier. Now it went up a yard. 15.5 is getting, I know it's only 1 yard, but it does matter because of the kneel down at the end of the game, if it is possible. So the only thing with these two quarterbacks, I would be interested in Mahomes under his attempts, but at the kneel downs, that goes up. That's good for him. With Purdy, I'd be interested in the yards. If they're winning, that's going to go down by 4 or 5 yards with 2 kneel downs at the end of the game. So that's kept me off either one of them. No bet in the rushing for me here.
Corbin?
Agreed. Just a
All right.
pass.
Jets and the Steelers. Jim, you like any of these rushing props?
um,
That
so
laugh.
we didn't see Braylon Allen get this big workload with the coordinator change. They were thinking that, well, maybe Brees is not going to be getting this big workload. He did, however, every time they got down to the goal line, Braylon Allen had a snap or two. So it looks to me like they're going to start using him as a short yardage goal line style back and try to keep the damage off of Brees Hall. Because of that reason, I think you have to look at Braylon Allen as an anytime touchdown player and not so much a yardage player. I think Brees is going to get a ton of targets. Now, whether that equates to yards,
Yards.
I don't know. What I worry about in this game is that they're so ineffective that even the 14 and a half carries, I believe it's at 14 and a half carries for Brees. It seems low, but do they just have to get away from it and use him in the passing game? I don't really know what their plan is going to be. The only thing that I could really see was that, in fact, Braylon Allen will be a short yardage goal line back going forward. So I would not look at him in the passing game and yards. We could do the same Kirk Cousins play here with Aaron Rodgers. We very well could.
I don't know
So
that they're going to win.
I don't think he's going over 2.5. I don't think he's looking to run at all. I think that ankle injury is worse than people say that it is, think that it is, and there's a reason why they brought Adams in, because they want him to get rid of the ball as quick as possible.
See, I worry that he doesn't get the kneel downs. That was the big thing about the Cousins is like we know
Yeah.
they're going to be ahead in the 4th
Mhm.
quarter. I as somebody that has Brees Hall in his big money fantasy league, watching him get them down to the 4-yard line and then watching Braylon
I
Allen's
know.
it's just your heart sinks. It's like, oh great, Braylon Allen's going to have 4 carries for 7 yards and 2 touchdowns and outscore Brees Hall on fantasy. It was absolutely infuriating. So yeah, nothing
Nothing
for
there.
me in those except for Brees Hall over his rush attempts or total touches, whatever the hell. So all right, let's move to the receiving props. If I like Drake May, I guess I gotta like Demario Douglas here. And I like his receptions at 4.5. It's a lot.
Mhm.
I got what 9 targets last week. So like if he's gonna be throwing, look at some of these other like reception totals for Patriots guys. Not a ton going on there. Hunter Henry's 2-1, Polk's 1.5. So yeah, I like Douglas over his receptions. Corbin, you like receiving props in this game?
Absolutely not.
Love it.
Not for
Jim.
me.
No Ramondre Stevenson yet, so I'm going to wait to see when he pops up, and I'm going to be looking at his receptions.
Lions and Vikings. Corbin, any of these?
Again, like this whole game, just like there's bits that I like, but every prop kind of feels. I said it before, just feels like it's in the right number. I can't. I think St. Brown's gonna have an awesome game. I think Justin Jefferson's gonna have an awesome game. I can't get there with any of these numbers on
Yeah.
anyone.
6.5
So
at -150s. Bonkers.
yeah,
Jim, same.
Same thing. The pressure rate for the Vikings, I think that Goff is going to have to get rid of the ball fast, even though that O-line is the best. It's not even a question anymore. Their O-line is the best in the league. It's still the pressure rate. You can be great as you can be, but if there's 7 guys rushing and only 6 to block them, 1 guy's coming free. So I expect it to be a bit of the quick passing game. Now, I don't know who that favors. I was actually interested in your guys' take on this. Do you feel that if they go to a quick passing game, it's going to benefit St. Brown, or is it more so Jamison Williams? Does Sam
Gibbs.
Laporta get involved?
I think it's Gibbs.
Do you think it's Gibbs? Okay.
I think it's Gibbs. The amount of times I've seen
Mm.
Goff check it down to Gibbs for a
Well, then
quick.
that 3.5 receptions at +135 is staring me right in the face. Then
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like a lot, if that's what you're saying.
I would say the line that makes no sense is Sam Laporte at 4.5. Where
Seems high.
He had 1
Yeah.
catch.
Yeah.
Last that was for
Okay.
52 yards, but Sam Laporta getting 5 catches. This one is like, do the books know something? I like honest. If I'm doing it, Laporta is going to be at like 2.5, maybe 3.5, but 4.5. He's going to catch 5 passes now. All of a sudden, I don't
Wow.
know. He strikes me as a guy that Jim, they would need him to help block. Like
They're
that's
going to
where
have
his
to chip with
value
him.
is going to be.
Yeah.
I can't believe Laporta is going to get 5 catches. So,
Andy,
all right.
whilst we're on this game and we just mentioned Gibbs, could you look at his receiving total, not his receptions? The 3.5 he's gone over. He went over the first 2 weeks, but his yards have been
21.5.
Yeah, so he's gone over in 4 of the 5
Mm-hmm.
games by the looks of it. So yeah, if I'm going to play Gibbs, I'd prefer him on the yards than the 3.5 receptions.
Titans and the Bills. No, I want nothing to do
No.
with any of these.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper. No, I don't know. Nothing in passing. Jim.
James Cook 15.5. He's got to be part of the passing game. He just does.
Corbin.
We saw the difference.
Just pass. Rush props only.
Bengals and Browns again. Nothing. I feel I'm with you, Corbin. That these numbers just feel a little bit dialed in. I feel like Jerry Judy's like, no Cooper, Judy get it. No, I've had Jerry Judy in fantasy. You're in a bad spot if you're depending on Jerry Judy. So
I was really hoping that we would see a ridiculously low number on David and Njoku.
Yeah,
and they sniffed it out.
Of course,
like they knew exactly where to go.
Yeah. Corbin. No,
again, I'll take my 2 rushing props over trying to find that. I do like this next game though.
Go for it.
These props might be my favorite. So Waddle over 3.5 receptions and Tyreek Hill over 4.5. I'm going to do both of them together because they both go along the same idea pretty much. They're just so low for these players. I mentioned before, I think Huntley's can have success this week. The Colts are not a hard team to throw on. Their secondary is awful. Those 2 weapons are huge, even on the short throws. Like they can get them involved so quickly to go over these totals. Waddle has gone over this total in every single game this year. Still,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. Tyreek Hill got 4 receptions on 8 targets last week. Sorry, Waddle got 4 receptions last week on 8 targets, and Hill got 6 receptions on 10 targets. So they're getting the targets. I think both could quite easily go over this total. I might even look to ladder go higher than that for some plus money. I love both of those this week. So
Jim.
No, Corbin nailed it.
Oh, I'm going Josh Downs under 4.5 receptions with Richardson playing at quarterback. Richardson has completed 9, 17, and 10 catches in 3 games. That's to the whole team. And he's going to get 5 to 1 guy. No chance. No chance. Josh Downs with Flacco 7, 9, and 8. Let's just say there's a little bit of a drop off, and I feel like you're getting 4.5 because of what he's done recently. Richardson is not hitting Josh Downs on precision slants and out routes. No, it's Downs under receptions. I don't want to play yards because he could break one, but I mean, no way. Receiving props up next. You got the Texans and the Packers. Corbin, I can't figure out your guys' receivers.
Just don't. There's no need.
There's no need. Yeah.
I can give you a way that I'm going to play this game, and you guys will never have thought of it. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs to have more receiving yards than Romeo Dobbs this week. It's minus 275, but I'm going to bring it back. Dobbs sucks. These are his.
You tell him, Corbin. Get him again.
Listen here. Pay attention to these totals, okay? So Dobbs has 49, 39, 18, 62, and 50 yards, okay? Memorize these numbers because Diggs is coming up next. 77, 82, 69, and 94. And there's no Nico Collins. Like, I know it's minus 295, but we've mentioned a few other alt pieces. You just put it with one of those and you're great. I love this play. So I will be playing this.
Love it. That's all you need in this game with the receivers. Let's go to Eagles and the Giants. I would lean ever so slightly to Devonta Smith just because Goddard is out. Probably a couple more looks. It seems right up Smith's alley. I'm not going there. Jim, is this? I feel like Malik Neighbors is going to be a really popular play at the 72.5 for good reason. I wouldn't want to take an under. What do you think?
It makes sense, but I kind of want to see him back to really. I'm not willing to jump right on him this first week back.
I am.
Yeah,
I know Jim, he's going to get the volume.
Yeah, you're just saying that because he said I can't remember the play.
Yeah,
I'm sure the
I'm
team
not.
doctor was
I'm
like,
not.
Malik, could you just leave that out of the
I
press
know.
conference, please? Tell people you didn't black out, please.
Your name is.
Yeah. So Corbin, we'll wait for a save game parlay.
I if anything in this, I would say I like the Saquon 15.5 receiving.
Okay.
That's
I
it.
will say I haven't got this in my same game parlay. Well, I have neighbors in some form, but I like his over 6.5 receptions at his normal total. He's gone over in the last 3 that he's played with 12, 8, and 10. I think they're going to be behind or at worst level with the Eagles. The Eagles secondary sucks. I love that he's coming back off an injury. I think he's going to get the exact same amount of workload. I think he's going to soar over this total. And again, he's another that I may look to ladder up and play him to have 8, 9, 10 receptions because I think they're going to need him. So
Seahawks and the Falcons. Yeah, not much here. Seattle's. I mean, I don't know. Good luck figuring out those guys. I think these numbers are dialed in, Jim. I think they're pretty much about what I expected. What do you think?
With Seattle, you got to look at the past week and see which receiver did better, Metcalf or Lockett, and then take the other guy the next week.
That's a good point.
They are the constant flip flop, and if you get off of the right timing, they're the most infuriating passing game to bet on ever. Ever. So I have absolutely no interest in any passing props this game. I think Atlanta gets up early and pounds the crap out of Seattle's defense.
Panthers and the Commanders. Again,
oh god,
yeah. All right, we're
no, just
moving
keep
on.
going.
Moving
Yes,
on. Raiders
please.
and Rams. Brock Bowers is going to be a very, very popular play for
Mhm.
good reason. I totally get it. That being said, I mean, how hard is this Raiders pass defense to defend? I feel like Bowers is going to be the guy you put a couple on. I mean, is Trey Tucker really terrifying the secondary? Like, oh no, we got a game plan for Trey Tucker. Corbin, you taking any of these?
I'm not taking any of those. I will wait. I know we're recording this slightly early, but I'm waiting to see the number on Mattison's receptions. He got 5 last week, expecting them to have to throw the ball here, particularly in the second half. The Raiders aren't going to be ahead, so I'm going to wait and hope that that line comes out somewhere in the 2.5, 3.5 range, and then I will look for an over on him. So
Chiefs and the 49ers. Jim, any of these guys?
Always tough to figure out. Always tough to figure out. Again, the Kyle Juszczyk number. I'll go back to it every week. Is it playable? Can it be gotten in one touch? He had a lot of touches and he scored last week. It wasn't garbage time. It was the end of the game touchdown. I don't know what we're gonna see. Do we have any confirmation with Jordan Mason will play? How banged up he is?
the fact that there's a number is telling me he's going to play.
Okay. I
Big,
got it.
yeah,
So
pretty
we'll
solid
assume.
numbers.
Yeah, we'll assume Jordan Mason's gonna play. Look, we've seen George Kittle be really involved. That being said, this Chiefs defense, like you said, is turning it up in the second half. I would look to play it this way. Look at halftime at taking some unders. I think with this Chiefs defense, we have to start looking at numbers that get egregiously bet up. Like if we get, Debo's got up to 89.5 yards receiving after 2 big plays, take the under for the second half. This defense does not give up points. They do the best job in the second half of the game. So I'm going to be looking just as a test to see what these numbers are at halftime. And maybe I'll get on some 49ers unders.
Chiefs are good at making adjustments. I think that's the biggest thing.
Mhm.
You see it every game. They just find a way to take away your biggest threat or what's working for you. So
I would be interested actually in Kittle receptions. The Chiefs actually give up the most receptions to opposing tight ends. Um, I hate betting on Kittle, but of course it's 4.5. No, that
It's
number's
right
too
there,
high.
isn't it?
Yeah, they've got that one. All right, Jets and Steelers.
oh yes.
Jim, any receiving props you like?
Oh, they don't have my boy up there. I
Who's
was
your
going to
boy?
throw Jeremy Ruckert out there. I'm waiting for
Oh,
the
wow.
Jeremy Ruckert props. All right, that hit again last week. They keep lining him at 1.5 receptions, and I know that Tyler Conklin's the guy. But when they try to run the ball, and they have that package out there in double tight end, it is always, uh, he's the check down. He's the check down. It's not Conklin. Conklin is running downfield. So if Rodgers is trying to get the ball away and they run a screen and they don't have it, it's going to Ruckert. Just a quick little dump off. So if I can see receptions with that, I think Garrett Wilson's going to have a day. If anywhere, it's going to be Garrett Wilson. Everybody and their mother is going to be on Devontae Adams overs, Devontae this, Devontae that. Garrett Wilson has been, take it from someone who's watched every play. The man has been double covered every single play. Like, even if they're running the ball and he's at wide out, the safety just runs over and gets in Garrett's face. Like, they're not letting him do anything. And I think he's going to be wide open. That's the only place that I'm going to look. Other than that, I'll be betting this game live.
See, I was looking at Lazard over with the because I'm thinking if anybody's going to be open, it's Lazard. Like they may just forget he's out there.
Sure, that's a good point. We'll see when it happens. I think they're going to move Garrett in the slot, and that's just going to afford so many more opportunities for one-on-one coverage. You could be 100% right about Lazard. Safety goes
open.
with Devontae. They double cover and Lazard
running down the sidelines,
he's one-on-one with a linebacker.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I'm gonna do a Jim, and I'm gonna say that this might be my favorite play on the board. Devontae Adams over 4.5 receptions. It's not at DraftKings just yet, but it's at some of my other books. 4.5 receptions on Devontae Adams is a disgrace.
He is right. He is right.
It's a shocking number, quite honestly. I love this play. The injury, fake in my eyes. He just he didn't want to play, and I can't blame him. The Jets can't run the ball. Rodgers will want to prove a point, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets this in the first quarter or the first half. He is going to throw to him
5 catches in the first quarter.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he threw it to him in back-to-back plays. Honestly, I would not be shocked in the slightest. And he is one, I've mentioned it before, but I will ladder him up because I think 4.5 is such a low total. I'm going to go all the way to 6, 7, and 8. So I think that line's disrespectful.
See, I don't mind it, the contrarian to me, because he's going to receptions. Like, I agree the volume could be there. Whether he's going to break a big play or what, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I like the receptions thought on that, Corbin.
Well, just to cement what you said, Corbin, about the hamstring injury, like the gall of the Jets, they were like, yeah, Devontae Adams has been cleared. And then they had to add in no restrictions. They actually just to really give an F.
You could have just wrote, got the trade he wanted.
Hamstrings 100% got the trade. Good to go. All right. So last week, Corbin lost a little bit. He has to do the sack props, but he's going to give you a same game parlay first before you go to the sack props. So Corbin, walk us through what you like about the same game parlay.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about the same game parlays. I've hit quite a few of them in the last week or two, and I hit the alt play last week. So this one is on the Eagles versus the Giants. It's Daniel Jones to throw for 175 plus yards. He has cleared this in every single game. That is going to remember those words because I'm going to say it about 3 times coming up here. Cleared it in every game. They're going to be playing from behind. Neighbors is back. Eagles suck versus the pass. I don't need to overcomplicate that. Then we have Neighbors, who again has cleared this this total in every game he's played. Again, going to be behind. Again, going to be throwing the ball. 50 yards for him is nothing. And then Barkley to get just 40 yards. Again, has cleared this in every single game this year. Revenge spot. I don't need, even the week that he struggled last week, he still got over 40 yards. To me, this feels great. All of this for only minus 130 seems like a steal to me. I love this one.
Love it. We're going to get to Corbin sack props. Hit the like button. Remember, leave a comment in the comment section. If you can't, code word today is master. Put that in the comment section. Love reading your comments and responding to everybody. All right, Corbin. It's your sack department this
Jesus.
week. Walk us through
you just
your
bask in victory here for a second.
Oh, God. I feel like I've done so much talking this episode. Right, so we're going to go for Giants over 2.5 sacks. I'm going to be honest. I've said it to the guys. I don't know every single defensive and offensive lineman on these teams. I'm going to be straight up with you. So I would take all of these with a pinch of salt, quite honestly. The Giants average 4.33 sacks a game, divisional game. This means a lot to this team. They know Hurts, they know his style, they know how he's going to play. And the Eagles give up on average 2.8 sacks a game. Hurts also has the third longest time to throw the ball, which means he's holding the ball longer. It's about 3 seconds. It's the third highest in the league. I think the Giants could quite easily get to 2.5 sacks here. So that's the first one. My second one is the Bengals versus Browns game to have over 6.5 sacks. Again, not overcomplicating it here. The Browns average the most against. Deshaun Watson's just holding the ball. He's a mess. I don't need to go into the details. Browns give up about 5 sacks a game, and the Bengals 2.5. Again, Burrows is just they're both holding the ball too long, quite honestly. I think both defenses could get in there for a sack, particularly as I expect Watson to be from behind. He's just going to stand in the pocket looking for Amari Cooper, who's not even on the field. So, and then my third, this is probably my favorite play, is the Panthers under 2.5 sacks versus the Commanders. The Panthers average just 1 a game. I'm expecting them to be playing from behind, so I'm expecting the Commanders to be up. Daniels doesn't need to just stand there and wait to get hit. Like, he'll just throw the ball away or just hand it off. There is no reason why Daniels should quite honestly take any sacks in this game. They're going to be ahead, preserve himself, and he has the 5th quickest time to throw. So again, even if he is throwing the ball, he's throwing it so quickly before the defense is even getting to him. So I'm going to take under 2.5. That seems like a steal to me, especially on a team that averages 1 a game. So they're my 3 favorite sack props.
Oh, you did good, Corbin.
I
I
gotta tell
tried.
you killed it, Corbin. I
Thank you.
love all 3 of these. The Bengals, Browns, yeah, they're garbage. They give up sacks. I love it. The Giants over 2.5. That's a great call. And the Panthers have 0 pass rush. Even the sacks they get are like BS quarterback sliding down behind the line sacks. So I think you killed it, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Good job, guys. All right. That is going to do it for us. Don't forget, NFL pack is up 4-1 the last couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to a really, really nice Sunday. And this pack will include any plays we have in the Monday night game. So go ahead and take advantage of that over at wagertalk.com, wt.buzz/AL. Good luck on your place, and we will see everyone later.
Good luck.
See you guys next time.